This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Verdona. If you were to tell us in April that the Jays would be facing the Yankees in the ALDS, we'd have said no flipping way, brother.
And Duran pops it up, giving chase and making the catch and flipping into the Red Sox dugout. What a catch!
The Yankees finished off the Red Sox last night, punching their ticket to Toronto, setting up the first ever playoff meeting between the Jays and the big bad Yankees. For Toronto, it couldn't have come in a better season. Not only did they finish with the best record in the AL, but they earned a tie-break over the Yankees by beating them 8-5 in the season series. Over those 13 games, Toronto outscored New York 70-59 and had a higher on-base percentage. The Yankees did outslug the Jays though, with 18 homers to Toronto's 13. And this pretty much encapsulates the difference between these two teams. The Yankees led the league in long balls, while the Jays got on base more than anyone else. New York is coming off a 3-game series where they burned 3 starting pitchers. But despite the rest advantage and home field advantage, FanDuel still has the Yankees listed as the favorites, which is wild considering we've never seen these two in a playoff series before, and I fear the Jays need a little more respect here. But I see where FanDuel's coming from considering Yankees tend to dominate in the playoffs. To basketball, and the stage is set. Game 1 of the WNBA Finals goes tonight, with the Mercury in Vegas to face the Aces. And this is actually an historic matchup, because for the first time they're doing a best-of-7 series. And the conversation involving the Aces begins and ends with A'ja Wilson. She's already bagged her 4th MVP in the last 6 years, and now she's chasing her 3rd title since 2022. The accolades just keep adding up for the league's best player. Wilson is a 7-time All-Star, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. And all this has happened since she entered the league in 2018. Las Vegas has been playing out of their minds. The Aces reeled off 16 straight wins to finish the regular season, and managed to edge out the Fever earlier this week to reach the finals. This is a really interesting matchup with Phoenix, who have done a full rebuild since reaching the finals in 2021. Last time it was legends like Griner, Taurasi, and Diggins. This year it's Satu Sabli and Alyssa Thomas, who might be the most complete player in all of women's basketball. In her first year with the Mercury, Thomas nearly averaged a triple-double, and Sabli carried the scoring load after coming over from Dallas in February. So needless to say, this is shaping up to be an outstanding matchup. So we're getting really close to the NHL season, and for all the bettors out there, today's Futures Day over at FanDuel. So let's bring in our very own Megan Chayka to help us make some picks for the NHL season. Megan, it's great to see you.
It's great to be back. I can't believe the regular season for the NHL is just around the corner.
Okay, let's get this started. We know you're the analytics expert. Where's the data pointing for the Rocket Richard Trophy?
The data's pointing me right back to Leon Draisaitl. Actually, I've been projected for over 47 goals this season. He's going to start the season with Connor McDavid, so you know they cause a lot of 1-2 havoc. And he's that multi-dimensional goal scorer. Draisaitl had really long point streaks last season. And Dre also had 11 game-winning goals leading the NHL, so he came up big when it mattered. I'll give you another sleeper pick, though. Matvei Michkov, I have him projected with over 45 goals, so watch Philly for a lot of goals this season.
And you know here at DSC, we love the anytime goal scorer bet. Give us one player under the radar who you think might be lighting it up this season.
Ooh, I snuck in Michkov in that last answer, but I'm going to give you one more, Bo Horvat. He only had an 11.5% shooting percentage, so really low, actually the second lowest in his entire career. I had him projected with 35 expected goals last season, so it was underwhelming, but I think Horvat scores a lot more this season.
All right, last but not least on FanDuel Futures Day, the Stanley Cup. What does your model predict?
It's way too early to call a Stanley Cup, but of course I'm going to do it. I have the Tampa Bay Lightning getting beat by the Colorado Avalanche, a 9% chance of this matchup. Both teams were top 5 in expected goals, so a lot of shot quality from them last season. And Colorado also had the most shots from the slot, so getting a lot in tight close to the net. Makar is one of the best defensemen in the league for Colorado, and McKinnon and Kucherov were both near the top in expected goals at around 34. So a lot of offense on both those teams, great defense, but you still have to play 82 games to even get to the playoffs. I do like Colorado to hoist the cup, Marissa.
The Avs are 10-1 to win the Cup, the 6th choice on FanDuel. Sounds like a good value there. Megan, thank you so much. We love having you on. We're drawing closer and closer to the finish line of the F1 season, and things are starting to heat up. 7 races to go, including this weekend's Singapore Grand Prix. So let's bring in another one of our favorite guests, our racing guy, Tim Hauraney. Timothy, how's it going?
Marissa, hello! It's great to see you.
Whew, I love that Friday energy, friend. All right, Tim, Max Verstappen has made it clear he is not going away. 2 straight wins and suddenly McLaren has another challenge on their hands. How do they manage their 2 stars while looking over their shoulder this weekend?
Yeah, McLaren's got a lot on their plate here. I mean, both drivers fighting for that driver's title, plus if things go the right way for McLaren this weekend, they could close out this Constructors' Championship battle, the Teams' Championship. So McLaren could win that by scoring just 13 points this weekend. However, like you had said, they have Max Verstappen now to deal with. And looking at how Free Practice 2 went, and where Verstappen ended up, he was just 1/10 off of Piastri, who led the way in that session. And this is a track that doesn't favor Red Bull at all. They've had some tough races here in Singapore, and by the looks of it, Verstappen could potentially fight the McLarens for pole position tomorrow. It's been a remarkable turnaround for not only Max Verstappen, but for also this Red Bull team as well. So for McLaren, they got a lot to manage. Both drivers fighting for a title and trying to close out the Constructors' Championship, as well as Max Verstappen snapping at their heels.
Right, because if Max wins again, this thing gets really interesting. Can you picture a scenario where Verstappen wins his 5th straight championship?
Yeah, there's absolutely a world where we could definitely have that conversation, but for this weekend, bringing it back to it is absolutely massive for both McLaren drivers and Max Verstappen. This could be a weekend where McLaren ends this sort of Verstappen conversation of potentially, hypothetically, getting into this Drivers' Championship battle. But if Verstappen wins, or if he manages to take points away from both Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, then this conversation goes to a whole other level. And we're talking about Max Verstappen potentially winning a 5th driver's title. And look at it this way, Marissa. Like I had said with Singapore, it's not really a track that favors what Red Bull Racing does. It favors McLaren. There are other tracks that are still left on this calendar that we haven't gone to yet that favor Red Bull Racing and what Max Verstappen does. Plus, there are sprint races as well. So there is a lot of points that are still up for grabs. At this moment, we can dream of having this conversation of Max fighting his way back into this driver's title. But man, if he scores big points this weekend, this conversation is totally turned on its head.
Tim, always great having you on the show.
All right, thanks so much for having me, Marissa. I really appreciate it. Thanks, producer Jeremy, as well.
You can catch the race bright and early Sunday on TSN. Coverage begins at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Time now for our CFL Preview, powered by FanDuel. Week 18 gets underway tonight with a meeting between my Riders and the Redblacks. And even in the midst of a down year, Ottawa's Drew Brown might be in for a big one tonight. Ottawa's last game against Winnipeg, he went for 400 yards. His second such game of the season, with the other one coming in a season opener against these very Riders. Saski's given up nearly 300 passing yards per game, and FanDuel is setting Brown's over-under right around that number. Meanwhile, the Riders come in at 10-4, but have dropped a pair in a row. They're still looking to wrap up first place though. And at worst, a win tonight guarantees them a home playoff game. AJ Ouellette went over the 1,000-yard mark for the season last week and scored a rushing touchdown for the 4th straight game. FanDuel has some pretty enticing odds on him scoring the first touchdown tonight. You can catch tonight's game between the Riders and Redblacks on TSN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 5 Central. That's it for me today. We'll see you back here Monday. Have an incredible weekend.